So welcome to 5.4. Here in this lesson, we're going to start with equations that are in standard form or close to standard form and turn them into slope. Excuse me there. Right. So which one of these is in slope intercept? Well, it's the one that's y by itself. So that is, right, if it has y by itself, that's slope intercept. Okay. It even could be in the other direction. Right? As long as y is on one side by itself, that's slope intercept. Right? As soon as we see that, we know that we can find the slope. It's -3, and the y-intercept is 0, -6. Okay? This thing over on the right is in what? It's in standard form. Right. I didn't ask that. All right, but find the slope, right? -3. I did that already. And 0, -6. And these are in fact the same line. The slope of both those are -3. The y-intercept of both those happens to be 0, -6. Okay, so can we switch between the two forms? Yes, we'll go in one direction one day, in the other direction the next day. To switch an equation from standard into slope intercept form, we have to get y by itself. So we have to get rid of this 4x, get rid of it. Well, how would you get rid of it? You subtract 4x because it's 4x minus 4x. Doesn't matter what number x ends up being, that's 0. Goes away. Now, when we did this earlier in the year, we often wrote 7 minus 4x. But remember, we're trying to make it look like y equals mx plus b. So we're not going to write 7 minus 4x. What are we going to write instead? We're going to write -4x plus 7. That's the same thing, right? Because we want it to look like y equals m times x plus b. We don't want to look at b minus mx. That is the same thing, but no. All right, so how are we going to get y by itself there, right? Right, we could divide everything by 2, but the safest method to avoid fractions is to do your adding and subtracting first. We're going to subtract 6x from both sides. We're going to realize that we want it in mx plus b form, so we're going to write -6x plus 12. Then we're going to divide by 2. Remember, we're dividing both entire sides by 2, distributive property of division. And so you get -6 divided by 2 is -3, 12 divided by 2 is 6, and that is the same line, but in slope intercept form. Right, so that's what we're doing. You're going to get great at this because you need to do it very quickly. We'll subtract x from both sides. 7y equals -x plus 14, right? Not 14 minus x. Divide both entire sides by 7. Okay. So now what is the slope here? Think about it. Hopefully you realize the slope is -1/7, right? Because there's a -1 there, right? X is -1. So it's -1/7 x plus 2, right? We divide both entire sides by 7. Next. All right, now this is technically not standard form because there's a negative there, but how do you get rid of that -9x? You add 9x to both sides. So we got -3y, again, mx plus b, so 9x plus 12. Divide both entire sides by -3. 9 divided by -3 is -3. Y equals -3x minus 4. 12 divided by -3 is -4. Right? We're not going to write plus -4 ever in any equation. That always becomes -4. Same thing here. So we're going to add 5x to both sides. So -1y, remember I like to write the -1 so I don't forget, equals 0 plus 5x. That's 5x. Divide both entire sides by -1. 5 divided by -1 is -5, right? The y-intercept there is 0, 0, right? So the slope is -5. All right, so now you're going to do with letters. You actually had this on test number 2, I believe. Right? So you subtract ax from both sides. Now, back then, you wrote c minus 8x, ax, but we're going to write -ax plus c, because we know what we want now. We're going to divide both entire sides by b. And so it looks like this, y equals negative ax plus c over b, or you could write it as y equals negative a over b, right? Negative a over b times x plus c over b. Either one of those is correct, right? But you have to divide both entire sides by b. So now we're going to do it for real world functions. Right, a company wants to create a mixture of nuts that sell for exactly $32. Peanuts cost $2 per pound. Cashews cost $4 per pound. I already wrote the equation for you. This is the last lesson. Convert the equation 2p plus 4c equals 32 into slope intercept form and find the slope and y-intercept. All right, so let's do that. So, right, we graphed these earlier in the year, or earlier in this unit. So let's subtract 2p from both. Oh no, we have peanuts here, right? So peanuts is on the y-axis. So we're going to get, oops, I really messed this up. 2p plus 4c. I want to get peanuts by itself. So I'm going to subtract 4c. Yeah, that was one little detail. So 2p equals negative 4c plus 32. Now let me go over why I got rid of the cashews. The cashews are clearly the x here, right? Peanuts are clearly the y, right? Because they're on the y-axis. Okay, so then we divide everything by 2. And we get p equals negative 2c plus 16. Right, so the y-intercept is 16 and the slope is negative 2. Now remember, each box is worth 2. Right, so down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. And so this is in fact the linear function. And once again, because we're not going to have any negative peanuts or cashews, this is what it looks like. Now, could we have done it the old-fashioned way or the other way, the standard way? Yeah, right? If peanuts is 0, 2 times 0 plus 4c equals 32, divide by 4. Right, when peanuts is 0, cashews is, uh-oh, something's wrong there. What did I do? Negative 2c plus 16. What did I do? Down 2. This should have gotten when peanuts is 0, cashews should be 8. I messed up my graph, so what did I do? The slope is down, oh, I really messed this up. Look what I did. Bad, Mr. Ben. All right, so look what I did. Because these are each worth 2. So down, that's a slope of 2, of negative 2. Yeah, oh, bad, Mr. Ben going too fast. All right, but I realized my mistake because I realized that the answer for this was c equals 8. And so I knew I had blown it. It's good for you to see everyone makes mistakes. That's why I have that. All right, and so then 2c plus 4, oh, gosh, I'm constantly doing this backwards. 2p plus 4c equals 32. When c equals 0, right, that crosses out. 2p, divide both sides by 2. p equals 16. That comes out right. Okay. But you can see why we normally do these. These are mixture problems, and we do them in a standard form because this is a negative 2 rate. What does this mean? Well, you start with 16 peanuts, and for every cashew, you subtract 2 pounds of peanuts. That's sort of weird, but that's what it means. Okay. Okay. So we're going to add 6x to both sides. 3y equals 6x minus 12. Divide everything by 3. Y equals 2x minus 4. Y-intercept is 0, negative 4. The slope is 2. And hopefully I've done better than I did on the last screen. Now, you may understand, why do I have this without the boxes here? Well, normally in class when we're at school, students are getting to use the boxes all the time. So I want them to have the experience of not using the boxes. But you at home have been not using the boxes all along, so this is easy. All right. All right, so convert the equation from standard form into slope intercept form. So let's see what these notes say. No mixed numbers in equations. No, leave them as improper fractions. Let's see that. All right, so we're going to subtract 5x from both sides. Negative 3y equals negative 5x plus 8. Divide by negative 3. Now, two negatives make a positive, so you don't leave that. That's 5/3 x. And this is plus 8 divided by negative 3, but you're going to write minus 8/3. You are going to leave it that way. You would never write y equals 1 2/3 x, right? 5/3 is 1 2, minus, what is that? 2 2, never. You never do that. And why? Because it looks like 1 times 2/3 times x. So we never do that. You leave them as improper fractions, right? That y-intercept is 0, negative 8/3. Yeah, when you're going to graph it, right, negative 8/3 is weird to graph. Then you want a mixed number, negative 2 2/3, right? So subtract 3x from both sides. Divide everything by negative 2. So what? Negative 2 divided by negative 3 is positive 3/2 x. Remember to have your x in the middle or higher. Negative 7 divided by negative 2 is plus 2 negative. There's 2 negatives there, plus 7/2. All right, so now what's the y-intercept? Well, 6/2 is 3, so 7/2 is 3.5. Now this is where we need the 3.5. Not in the equation though. No 3.5 in the equation, but 7.5. The slope is 3/2, right? So the rise is 3, the run is 2. So we're going over 2, up 3. We're at 3.5 now. So if you're up 3, you're going to be at 6.5, right? So that over 2, up 3, and that's what it looks like, just like that. And hopefully you realize that one's in standard. What's the other one in? Slope intercept. So negative 4 divided by 3 is negative 4/3 x plus 4. Negative 14 divided by negative 1 plus 14. All right, so I already gave the equation. It's $12 for adult tickets, $8 for children tickets. You're going to convert that into slope intercept. So adults is over there. So that's the y, right? So we're going to get rid of the 8c, all right? So it's not exactly the same pattern as the other ones, all right? 12a equals negative 8c plus 120. Divide everything by 12, all right? All right, divide everything by 12. Now, negative 8/12, right? We got to simplify that is negative 2/3 c plus 10, right? And that is very awkward, but let's see. So y-intercept is 10, and then we're going down 2, right? Down 2 and over 3. So now, from 10 to 8 is 2. I got trapped with this last time. And then over 3. So down 2 is one box, and then over 3 is there. Then down 2 is one box, and over 3 is there. Down 2 and over 3. And boom, I'm getting 11 there, it looks like. Let's see if that's right. When adults is 0, right? When adults is 0, that goes away and get 8c equals 12. I don't think so. There's 120. Divide both sides by 8. And so you get 8 goes into 120. Uh-oh. Goes once, and then 40 goes 50. Oh, Mr. Ben, you've made another mistake. Oh, because right there I made it. I can see where it is. right? I went over 3, I went over 3, I went over 3, and then all right, but then this is 14. I'm still making a mistake. So it's down 2 over 3. And then I should be at 6, which I am. And then I should be at 9. And then I should be at, then I should be at 12. All right, and then I come over here, and then I'm at 15. Thank you. Okay, I made a mistake. All right, that makes more sense. And that's the graph. All right, thank you.